It's a beautiful thing.
We in 6 countries. That's
Yes.
what I mean. So that's the thing that stands out to me.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. We love y'all.
Yes. Thank y'all for listening.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Coach Deb, representing one half of the Healing Corner podcast. If you're interested in booking a consultation as well as service or a reading, go ahead and check me out at debshealingcornerstone.com.
I'm Coach Yams, owner of Healing is Work Coaching, and I help millennial professional women to live on purpose unapologetically and to help them to stop doing shit out of obligation. If you need help with that, reach out to me, Coach Yams, YAMZ.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Healing Corner podcast. I hope y'all are doing well. This is part 2 of the quantum healing that we were talking about in the previous episode. We have Miss Jennifer Lake here with us, as well as Coach Yams. So we're going to go ahead and dig into it again and kind of, finish off what we left off at. Yeah. I know, Jennifer, you're kind of explaining to us how you did work with couples and some of the outcomes of what it looked like with that. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had to help people that were older and like people that are older than you? What does that look like for you?
It's beautiful. It always amazes me to see how people are able to open their minds. Because, a lot of times people say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's a lie. I had a beautiful client in her 70s, and she was going to be a grandmother for the first time, but she smoked all her life, and she didn't want to smoke when the baby came around. So she wanted to be hypnotized so she can leave the cigarettes alone. And as a former smoker, I understood that. I understood what that felt like. So it was a beautiful session. And not only were we able to go down and to see where that came from, and it's always so interesting. But she, as a child, did not like her home environment. When she saw adults smoking, she equated smoking as being grown. So that's why she started to smoke as a child. She's like, if I can start smoking cigarettes, maybe this will hurry up and make me an adult so I can get out of this environment. And she never even, put that together. And so we basically realization like, well, you don't have to do this now because now you are an adult. Now you have an environment. Now worry about that. You can let that go. You don't need these anymore, So she was very good. She was very good.
So is that the oldest that you've ever helped with? Okay.
70s were the oldest.
So what about the youngest?
The youngest now, of course, when if you're under 21, of course, you need your parents. My words. Approval to do that. But the youngest that I did, he was at the time, I want to say 13. He wanted a hypnotherapy session so bad. Also family member. So he had already seen and heard some of the success stories that I had talked about and was like, I want to do it. Ask your mom. So we got everything together and his session was so beautiful. He was like floating and with castles and riding dragons and, just being a baby, just enjoying the beauty of creation, basically. So that's what his session was like.
I think that's pretty cool that, him being younger, he still was intrigued by that. Yes. Do you think that he had an old soul? Do you think that's why?
Yes. Okay. There's a lot of stuff that but if you pay attention to a lot of the younger people now, they'll blow your wig off because the stuff that they say, it's just like, yeah, you've been here. You one of the ancestors. I know it. I know. But yeah, he's very on point with the times. So he was a
And
good
then
candidate.
I was going to say, then I have a question to shift it away from age wise on a personal level. And I want to know how quantum healing can help in a business sense, be it for corporate spaces or entrepreneurs or however you've worked to help a business. What does that look like and what have been some of those results?
So I've worked with a business before where it was more of a bonding um, ceremony for them. So, whenever you have several people, different personalities or whatever, it's not always easy to get on one accord and to get the work done. So they contacted me, and through music and like a light hypnosis, of course, breathing exercises. I always bring the breathing. Um, it's like they were all vibing together. Like, you could just collectively get on one accord with that. So it was a very beautiful session, and everybody just felt so good coming out of it. So I was very excited about that because going into it, you don't know how it's going to be, but yeah, it turned out really nice.
And then just a follow-up question. I know that you yourself also entrepreneur. How has quantum helped you with your business?
Whew, wow. Every time I do a healing, a reading, anything, I am being healed at the same time. And it took me a minute to understand that, because at first going into it, of course, I was doing it for myself so that I can be healed and go on my own personal journey. But the more that I do it, the more I realize that, oh, this particular client came to me with this particular reason because that's something, a mirror for me. We all mirror each other. And it was something that I needed in myself. So I'm just growing by leaps and bounds, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be able to do what I do and to meet the people I meet and learn the things I learn. I'm just excited to learn more and, to do more things. So it's yeah, it's helped me so much.
So kind of to go along with that, so what do you see for your future for your company? Do you feel like this is something that you could like have other people, other practitioners helping you or teaching them, or what does that look like for you?
Oh yeah, I would love that. I would love to have I have a lot of great things that I would like to do that I'm not going to discuss at this time, but I will say, yeah, I do look forward to working with a lot of different types of modalities with different practitioners. And yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited about growth.
I can see that being a thing in the future, like especially collaborating, because now since we got the internet and it's almost like you can make it happen with anybody around the world,
That's right. That's
So
right.
that's really cool that or you ever thought about doing like a school, because some people they feel like they need to get training and stuff like that. Do you ever see yourself making a school?
Girl, spirit is speaking through you. You know how many times that I've had clients come to me and ask me, "Are you doing classes yet? Are you doing classes yet?" So I know that's also on the horizon. So soon I will be. I will be doing classes. Um, I just need to get a feeling or a footing of what exactly people want to know because, yeah, I'm totally open to doing classes and stuff with people. I want to know what to do. Let's do it. Let's do it together because we need more. We need more.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are there any risks or limitations associated with quantum healing practices?
Great question. So, hmm, the risk I would say are if you are not mentally in a place where you're able to receive the messages that are coming through, then I would make sure to get a footing with that first. Um, I know that in this day and age, so many of us are dealing with different mental disabilities and things that can affect us, different anxiety levels, just if you feel like you're in a good place where you're able to receive what you're going to hear or what you're going to see, then I say go forward. If not, take care of what you need to take care of first. I mean, that's with anything, most definitely. Please take care of yourself first, um, on that level before you try to go open Pandora's box. Yeah.
So I have a question about the physical body. Like, have
Mhm.
you helped people to the point where the physical? Because I remember we were kind of talking about that in the first one, how a lot of disease or dis-ease comes
Mhm.
from, the energy being blocked. Have you ever had any testimonies where people's physical bodies were healed because of
Yes.
quantum healing?
Yes, both on purpose and not on purpose. But the one, I know I had a client that did a lot of CrossFit. She was she was healthy. She was like fit, but like her muscles and stuff, they would get tight and she would feel very stiff. So she would come in just for, every few weeks just to get Reiki so she can relax. And it would just relax her so much. She would just feel so good. Um, Another client I have, we were just doing just a general Reiki cleanse. And after the cleanse, she was like, I don't have any more knee pain. Just random things that you have that you don't even know. Because the way that the Reiki goes, like I touched certain parts of your body that correlate to the chakras in your system, but the energy flows throughout your body. It goes to where it's supposed to go. Like I don't direct it, I don't do anything. I listen to what the divine is telling me, where to touch you. I touch you in those spots, and the energy flows to it. So whatever needs to be shaken up will be shaken up. Whatever needs to be loosened or refreshed, it will be handled, and you will definitely feel it.
I have a follow up question to that.
Hmm.
Are there instances where, because I know that when I've gone for Reiki sessions, and I've only been for like one, maybe two in life, so I'm not experienced on like what the menu of Reiki looks like, right?
Hmm.
But I know that typically when you see a practitioner in this way, there is a window of time in which you like ask for. So it might be like a 60-minute session or a 90-minute session. My question, I guess two questions are: one, what is a standard session? And has there been a time when you've been in the session and you've known energetically that you needed more time to get them wherever they were trying to get to? And what
Hmm.
does that look like?
Great question. So my all of my sessions are 60 minutes unless I am instructed to go longer. So um, as I'm feeling your energy and I'm going through, then I can tell like, okay, I need to stay here longer. I need to just rest here for a while, or maybe I don't need to be on that, as long or whatever. But there has also been times where I have done a complete session and energetically the client has felt good to me. But when they sat up, they were like, can I have a little bit more here? It felt good when you were here. So I've done that before too. Yes, lay back down. Let's do some more. Um, so I just kind of I'm water. So I go with the flow, and I listen to my clients. Whatever you need, then that's what we'll do.
And then a follow up question to that would be, is there any kind of instance where recurring Reiki is recommended for best outcomes?
Yes, so that falls in line with when I do Kundalini Reiki. So I do Kundalini Reiki for specific traumas. So it's like I say right in the middle of Usui Reiki, which is my general Reiki, and my hypnotherapy. Kundalini Reiki is more like, for example, I have a Kundalini Reiki for birth trauma. A lot of us, of course, don't remember what it was like being born, right? All you know is you came into the world some kind of way. But that's a very traumatic experience to not only for the mother, but for you as well, coming through either through the womb, through the portal, or through cesarean. Either way, it's very traumatic to go from where you were and then coming into this 3D heavy dimension, right? And so you carry that with you all your life. And if you just feel like this heavy feeling on you all the time and you don't know where it is, where it comes from, that's something that could be healed. Now, with the Kundalini Reiki, there are some sessions that require 2 or 3 sessions back to back, where you have to come back and get the exact same type of healing. And that clears out those particular um, energetic crystals. I'll say it like that. If you can imagine, like, you know how if you don't stir sugar really well in a liquid and the crystals just kind of form at the bottom, think of those crystals in your body as trauma. So you have sugar crystals in your body just sitting there, taking up space, giving you that whatever. Coming back 2 and 3 times for that particular Kundalini Reiki, it's going to break up those crystals. It's something that couldn't just be done in one setting. It has to take a few times. Because I normally tell people when you get a Reiki session, give it 2 weeks for the energies to flow, but before you schedule another one. But with Kundalini Reiki, we can kind of get past the 2 week thing. You can come back like the next week or whatever, because we know it's going to be several of the same. Yeah.
So, with you doing a lot of the, healing and having go through the transition with them, what does it look like for you to personally reset yourself or get yourself back in alignment?
Um, I do my cleansings and like prayers, and like I do that beforehand. Um, Especially like whether I'm doing a Reiki session, hypnotherapy, or especially readings. When I'm, preparing for the reading, and I ask the client to send me any questions that they may have or they want me to ask during the readings, and I'm getting into it, I feel the emotion. And like when I first started doing the readings, y'all, I wasn't ready. I didn't know that all that would happen. I know I'm sensitive, but I just didn't know it would be like that. And oh my God, I would just feel it. And I'm like, oh. And so going into it, I'm glad because I know where they're coming from. And it's like, I'm there with them. It's like, it's so quantum. I just, I love it. I just love sharing that energy, that space. Same like for whenever we're doing like a hypnotherapy session and say I regress you, Coach Deb, and you're like, I have an issue with my father and I can't seem to talk to him. In the session, we will pull his energy up and talk to him there so that you can talk to him on that level and it will affect him and it will affect you. And going forward, things will change. Like you'll start to see, things, people will open up, and it's beautiful. It's like you don't even have to 1:44 on the clock. You don't have to have that actual face to face with people to know, um, I've done this. I've said what I needed to say. Just having that quantum moment with them, it's done, and you can seal it, and it just know that it's done. It's just beautiful.
It's interesting that you say the connection with the parent because I was actually going to ask because as we're recording this, Mother's Day is coming up tomorrow,
Right.
and everyone's relationship with their mother doesn't look like what we idealize our
Hmm.
relationships with parents to be. And so
Exactly.
I was going to ask if that's something that could happen. So you answered that question. And I guess my follow up to that would be, have you done sessions for children with maybe uh, difficult relationships with their parents? And have you seen or like found out information on the back end about like how their relations have grown? And then I have a part two because I can't just come with a
It's
regular
fine.
part one to a question. If there is unaddressed mental health issues that cause potential retriggering and traumas, is it safe to do quantum healing to connect energetically or to work through whatever in a quantum space with a parent who that exists?
Really good question. Okay, yes. Okay, so I have a couple of scenarios for that. The first scenario, the client had a difficult connection with her father, but he was so big in her world with a lot of things and had changed so much, affected so much for her. So we pulled his energy up. And in this particular case, he was no longer here. So she felt like she couldn't talk to him. It was just done. But we pulled him up, and y'all, the look on her face, the energy she felt, you could tell the joy. Like, because once we go back, once we cross over, and once we go back to the light, which is the ultimate goal, is to be reconnected with Source, then we forget this play that we had going on down here, right? And we're back with Source. We have the full consciousness of what we were actually down here to learn. So her father stepped in and was able to talk to her and to give her that peace of mind of what was actually going on, why things were so difficult with them, this, that, and the other. Okay. She came out of that feeling so much better. Another scenario, a client had a difficult relationship with her mother, and her mother was still living, but she was like, we can't really talk and really get things accomplished, right? So we were able to pull her mother up, and unfortunately, her mother, I don't know if her mother did have some type of mental blockages or whatever, but in the session, her mother was very resistant. Her mother was like, I don't want to talk about that. Nope, nope. So it's like her mother had things that she wanted to talk about. So I then had to tap into her mother. So I tap into her mother. What happened with you at this age? I had to regress her mother in her child's regression. In regressing her mother, I found out that her mother had some pains that she needed to clear. Once we were able to clear that, then she could see her daughter. Then she could talk to her daughter. Then her daughter can get the healing she needed from that connection. So, yeah, sometimes there is like a mental thing going on that can bring up blocks or whatever, but none that I have experienced that shuts it all down, thankfully. And I know that's because I bring in help from the angels and the divine, the guides, the ancestors. I bring in all the help. I bring in all the heavy hitters because I can't do it. And it always works. So it's like there's always more. We just have to go deeper. That's all it amounts to. Just got to go deeper.
So then a follow-up question real quick would be, with the parent that was living, did you also meet with her, and is that something that she has to consent to in order for this to be a thing
No,
that can be worked through?
not at all. I didn't even.
Okay.
She was long distance, and we never. I never met her mother, and I there was never needing any type of consent or anything like that. That's something that happens over time. Like now, my client talked to her again, and she's like, "Our relationship is easier now." And I'm sure her mother didn't know where that came from, but the divine opened her heart through her daughter coming to get help. So it's like sometimes if you just need that one person to come and like, we need help, something ain't right, then the doors can be open for so many, even those who are resistant to it.
And would you say being able to do that work heals ancestral and generational traumas that mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers have carried forward?
Yeah.
Sons, fathers, grandfathers, uncles,
Yes.
all of
Oh,
that.
wow.
Because we are
Yes.
all carrying
Yes.
somebody's version of trauma that they were not capable, had space for, or the knowledge to be able to work through and release in their time here.
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what that does. That's what quantum healing does. It heals DNA to the core. Yeah, I go, oh, love. Oh,
It just means that I got more work to do.
yeah, it's beautiful. That's
Listen,
beautiful.
And it's like you want to step away from being the person who's doing the heavy lifting.
Right.
But sometimes, like, you're the only person that's going to be able to get that done.
And that's why the angels and the divine and the ancestor chose you because they knew that you are the only one that could do it. And not
Whew.
everyone is going to be happy about that because they look at you like, well, why does she get this and why does she get that? And but you don't know what she's going through in order to make all this happen for the family.
Baby, I done flipped over all the tables and boats. We just gonna keep on keeping on. Don't worry about it. Black sheep activate.
Exactly. Is that it's not easy work, but it's good work.
Yams just reminded me of a time actually, and when I said this to my mother, I didn't even know what I was saying, but I told her, I said, all this stuff that's been going on, it stops here.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
didn't even realize what I was saying
Yeah.
because it was just like, I guess my spirit could feel what was going on because this is before I really started getting into spirituality and
Hmm.
started to read, really get into reading cards and stuff like that. But something in me told me to tell her that, and it was like
Right.
the look on her face was like it was almost like our spirits knew what was happening, but
Exactly.
our physical bodies couldn't
Right.
grasp what was happening to the whole extent, you know? And
Yeah.
it was like, I felt like my mom was looking at me like, you're going to take this on? Like, it was
Right.
almost like her spirit was saying, you're going to take on this? And
Yes.
then my spirit was like, yeah, because it stops here.
It's got to. It's got to. We can't keep doing this. Enough.
Yep.
Because the time is now.
Mm-hmm.
We y'all know we are living in the best times, and it may look weird, oh, but the changes that are going on that are happening now that have
Mm-hmm.
never happened before.
Nope.
Man, I'm so
Mm-mm.
grateful.
Wow, y'all. The time is already up and it's getting so good. Jennifer once again has come and shined some of her beautiful light on
I'm
us, and we
grateful.
appreciate it, Jennifer. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. You're definitely welcome to come on here again if
Anytime.
you would like.
Anytime.
All right. Well, Yams, you
Yes.
got any last
Nope. I
closing?
was gonna say I just echo. Thank you. It's okay. We got work to do.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
gonna
we
keep
do.
on doing it
We
because
do.
the world needs it, and the world needs to know that people are out here doing this work and that it's doable,
That's right.
and that you can get to the other side of it and live your best fucking life.
That's right.
Yes.
Because why
That's it.
not?
Why not?
Why not? Oh,
All
man.
right. Well,
Mhm.
if all minds and hearts are clear, we're going to go ahead and close it off, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, share, hit the post notification bell, and check out our description box. We'll have information regarding how to contact any of us three ladies. All
Yeah.
right. But I'm going to give it to Yams because she got to hit our outro.